I'm your host, Matt Miller, and welcome to Season 2 of You're Still Doing That? If you love the podcast and want to see it continue, go to www.yourstilldoingthat.com and leave a tip. If you have a lifelong passion you'd like to share, come on the show. Go to www.yourstilldoingthat.com and sign up to become a part of the podcast family. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok for fun videos to see what's coming up next. On with the show. With us today is Mr. Keith Davis. Say hello to the tens of people that are listening, Keith.
10 people? All right.
Hopefully, maybe
Hopefully
20.
more, yeah. Hey.
Hopefully more than 20. So Keith was the very first person that I podcasted with way back, a long time ago. So far back, I think it was just last year.
I think it was.
And so we're going to talk with Keith today about one of the little side projects he likes to do. He's not just Sanford's best guitar player, but he's also Sanford's resident G.I. Joe expert. And so he's got a company, him and a friend. Is it Mike?
Mike Waddell, yeah.
Yeah, him and a friend. They've got a little company called Range Collectibles.
That's it. Yeah.
You can also check out their band, Free Range Beats. Yeah.
We have the Free Range Empire going.
The Free Range Empire. I love it.
Yeah.
Pretty soon we'll have a Free Range soap and Free Range shirts and underwear and
you never
Free
know.
Range hats. We've already got Free Range chickens. I don't know if you can take control of that empire. But
I think that's already coined.
Yeah, you might have to work on that there.
Yeah.
But so we're going to talk about a little bit about G.I. Joe and collectibles and how that gets started today. And so Keith has a hospital out in his backyard, a G.I. Joe hospital, where they do surgeries around the clock nonstop, saving G.I. Joe's lives from wherever they used to be. So Keith, let's start a little bit at the beginning. So if someone, if you find a G.I. Joe that you think might be good to resale at one of your shows, what kinds of things are you looking for on the Joe to decide if it's something that's going to be a part of the Free Range Empire?
We'll take anything. And then, if it's something that's not resellable, we will try to part it out and use it for parts to make something that is more desirable or sellable.
Now, do you guys sell just G.I. Joe parts as well?
We haven't really gotten into the selling parts by themselves. I mean, I know people do that, and there's probably online, I know you can make more money selling something by parts than you can, as a complete. But we've talked about it because we definitely have a good collection of parts.
I bet so.
It's just a lot of getting it together,
You're right. It all takes time.
Yeah.
To get all that together. So what type of things do you do to a Joe to get it ready for show?
Well, most commonly, the Joes are broken half when you see them.
Right.
And that's because they have a little rubber ring inside them called an O-ring. And the O-ring, just over time, just deteriorates.
Right.
And it comes apart. Or dry rots. And so that's probably the most common thing that's wrong with Joe's is that it's like the O-ring is torn up. So as long as the figure has been kept together, as far it's in the same bag or something, you can usually find all the parts. And then with a little screw in the back, you take it out, you can replace the O-ring, and there you got a brand new Joe again.
Well, there you go. Where do you get O-rings? I mean, can you pick that up at Lowe's or do
you can actually? They're little plumbing rings.
Yeah.
You can get them at Lowe's, or the first group I ever got bag of them I got from Lowe's, and then I order them online.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes when you order them from these companies online, they'll have other parts that you need, like there's a little hook part that keeps the legs together in a pair, and sometimes those will break the hook itself, and so you can get a new hook, and they'll come with some hooks and some O-rings, and then the little tiny screws that go in the back.
Yeah, so Keith is doing whole hip replacements and everything for G.I. Joes. Now, what about the color of a Joe?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes they get sun.
Yeah.
The sun will damage the paint. and they'll yellow, especially
Yeah.
the white figures what they have a lot of white will be yellow, and there's not much you can do about that, really.
Do you paint them? Do you give them paint jobs?
I have never gotten into the painting. I know
No.
people who do, but I've never done it.
Yeah, that's another little step you'd have to do to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would assume a lot of owners and collectors probably paint the Joes themselves. They might want to do their own color scheme, or they can take a Joe and paint it something else.
No, you get people who do custom, do customized Joes and things like that. So that is a thing.
So, how much does a
Excuse me.
Joe run for you guys? If it's a common action figure, it's not.
Commons,
Yeah.
normally about $10.
So if a guy buys a $10 Joe from you, and how much do they charge if someone wants a brand new, complete new paint job?
I don't know
You know how much people pay for that?
I don't know. Not that.
Yeah, I always wondered what the upsell was if you could get a Joe that looks like it's in mint condition because someone's gone through the time and painted everything.
Yeah, I've had one redone before that was really scratched up, and the guy, fixed it up, and I don't think he charged me more than $30.
$30 for
Yeah.
the paint job. Well, that's a lot more expensive. I don't know. How much does a new Joe action figure cost now if you go to Walmart or something?
Oh, and the new ones are they're about $30 for the
Almost $30
for the 6-inch ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then sometimes you can find they do make little 3 3/4, but
Like
I think those were running about 20.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even the smaller ones?
Yeah.
Like we used to play with and dig them in the dirt and all that kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't $20
$15,
in the 80s.
$15, $20. No, in the 80s they were like $2 or $3.
Yeah. If that.
I wish it was still like that, but yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are in several shows a year.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys have coming up next for Free Range Collectibles?
Well, of course, Joe Fest is coming up, or will be this week or the week of June. What's the 18th, 17th? Yeah, the 20th, 21st, I believe that's June is Joe Fest in Augusta, Georgia, and
Home of the Masters.
yes, and it's very close to the golf course. Yeah, you can't see it. They've got that place concealed.
I bet it's locked
with
down.
fences. Yeah. And then we have a couple local things. The the Lee County Library Comic Con.
Comic Con.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we usually do the Street Fest for the fireworks in downtown.
I love it.
And we have Retro Toy Con, and that's in November.
And where's Retro Toy Con at?
It's in Greenville, South Carolina.
All right.
Yes, Greenville, South Carolina. So that's a pretty big one. This will be our first year setting up at that one.
Free Range Collectibles touring all of the Carolinas this year.
And then don't forget, we also do Inside Pitch in Raleigh at the fairgrounds. Not every show. Sometimes they do shows that are just sports cards and stuff like that. But when they have the toy ones, we try to do those. So
awesome. Now, how much time do you think you spend during the week prepping your G.I. Joe inventory?
More than I should, especially the closer we get to
Right?
it. Yeah, I spend a lot of time in the building, out there working on stuff and sorting, finding accessories, putting it together with the right person, the right machine, the right, whatever.
Or making sure the right Joe has the right stuff that goes
Yeah,
along with
exactly.
it. You don't want to mix up action figures.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time. I mean, as we get closer. I mean, like last week, I spent, probably 3 or 4 hours a day out there.
Right.
But when school's in, we're at work, it's a lot less. But
yeah, I bet so. So, how much inventory do you take on a show like in Augusta? How many Joes are going with you to Georgia?
Oh man, I have not counted all of our Joes.
All right,
that are going.
over or under 200?
I'd say definitely over 200.
Over or under 500?
Probably figures, if you're talking just figures, I would definitely say over between 500 to 1,000.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
But that's not just that is the Joe lines, the newer lines that have come out. We have a lot of those too.
Yeah.
And then the old original stuff, and we have vehicles and stuff too.
Right.
And plus, we'll take I mean, we won't take just Joe's because I mean, yeah, obviously Joe Fest that focuses on Joe's, but last year we did pretty good with some Star Wars figures.
Oh,
and
so
stuff.
so Joe Fest isn't just for GI Joe collectibles, but you can find
I
other
mean, that's
things?
the primary focus,
Right.
and there'll probably be the most Joe stuff you'll find at any of the cons, any of
Yeah.
those things. But there are other things. People do have other things sometimes. So.
Oh, got you. Because
Yeah.
I am used. Besides seeing your GI Joe stuff, you guys always have a lot of Star Wars stuff
Yeah.
out too, as well. And that, of course, is probably more current and more popular.
Yeah, the Star Wars stuff always does well. Finding the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yeah.
I have made a comeback. A lot
Yeah.
of people look for those now. Anything like that. And then the odds and ends stuff we had like some Hercules toys from the 80s, and man, those things sold pretty
They
quick.
went fast.
Yeah, you never know.
What about He-Man and Masters of the
Yeah,
Universe?
yeah. People like that too.
Yeah.
We don't carry as much as that because we haven't had as much luck with the He-Man stuff.
Right.
But I mean, I know people who are into it.
So where do you go about finding your inventory?
That's anywhere, everywhere. Like
Anywhere and everywhere?
you get someone says, "Hey, I heard you guys, sometimes buy toys and stuff. I have some old toys in my attic. I've been wanting to get rid of. I was gonna clean them out." I mean, we get stuff like that.
Yeah.
We get sometimes you just buy like you look on eBay where
Yeah.
somebody's trying to sell a whole lot.
A whole lot of them,
Yeah,
yes.
and then you just buy the whole
I've
thing.
seen that with Legos, people buying
Yeah.
bulk things on eBay or something that are just Lego. So you can do that with Joe as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you ever go to like yard sales or estate sales that people have?
Estate sales, yes.
Yeah.
Yard sales, I've never had much luck with.
Yeah, that'd be kind of a hit and miss with that.
Yeah, I've done it, but I've never walked off with anything from a yard sale like that. Now, estate sales, you keep your eye out. You can find some good
Right.
ones. And online auction sites are good too. I look on those, not just eBay, but just actual estate sale like auctions.
Right.
Yeah, I've done a few things with those too.
I bet that would be fun because if they've got a line of Joes there, they've probably got other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh
that
yeah,
might interest you.
it's fun. That is fun to look and see what they're selling.
Now, when you go to some of these estate sales, if you know there's a lot of toys or possibly GI Joes, how many other people are there just like you trying to get the same stuff?
They're definitely on the first day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm envisioning fights like in Anchorman and all the teams fighting each other trying to get after the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are a little more civil than that, but I mean, I have had a guy come up and just start grabbing stuff in front of me that I was looking at, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, that's mine." You have to really claim your stake on it,
Right.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, on these sales, do you pick up stuff you want to buy, or is it something you have to bid on?
it depends. Like the estate sales you visit that you actually go to,
Right.
you just go and pick it up and buy it. Now,
Gotcha.
a lot of the online sites are bids.
Yeah.
And usually, if it's not too bad. It's not too much competition. Sometimes you might get someone else on there. I mean, I've gotten some stuff fairly cheap on some of these, but then every now and then you get somebody who's going to go against you, and they'll
Right.
drive it up just like they do on eBay.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you find them where they're really cheap, but then you have to do local pickup, and they're up in Ohio or somewhere, and it's
Right.
like, oh, well, that's why it's not selling.
And what's have you done any of the local pickup?
No, I haven't.
No, I was about to say, I was wondering how far you may have driven for a lot of stuff.
No, just Raleigh and Durham, just something like that. I mean, when I've won, though, they've shipped.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Now, what about people's like storage containers and things like that? Have you
Yeah,
ever?
we've gotten one storage container.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I knew there'd be containers that would probably have toys in them. But
Yeah, we got a good one time.
yeah,
It was real nice. A lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
right.
things like that. Not a lot of Joes, but
Other stuff you could
other
use.
stuff that we used and sold. Yeah, there were also comic books, but we didn't touch those.
Right. Oh, so you
Yeah.
just took what you needed.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Because then you, I'm envisioning you opening up your storage container and going in there, and you've got your toys, and then you've got like old lady hats and shoes, and there's like a toaster and
Yeah, no,
whatnot.
I've never actually won a whole locker, but
Yeah.
someone said, "Hey, somebody died. They left me this locker and wanted me to get rid of the stuff that's in it." So we've gotten lucky like that in a locker,
Right.
but never like I've never been to one of those auctions. That would be fun though, like Storage Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you'd have to have an idea. I guess they would say
we get the
things
preview.
that are in there. Yeah.
I think you can preview.
Right.
Sometimes it depends. I think.
Do you see those weird videos where the guy's like, I paid $30,000 for this locker. Let's see what's in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what's in it if you paid 30 grand for it.
Yeah, definitely staged a lot of
Yeah.
that. They do that just to get you,
Get
hook
you
you in
watching.
there. Yeah,
That's
get you
right.
watching. Clickbait, I guess. Yeah.
So when you go to an event as big as Joe Fest, what goes on at Joe Fest other than visiting the epic and awesome free range collectibles aisle?
Well, of course, there's a lot of other people
Yeah.
selling things, and then there's a lot of companies other little toy companies and stuff who will be set up and have their newest products out.
Yeah.
Like one of them that's going to be there this year is Super 7. And Super 7 does a lot of stuff, not just Joe's. But I know a lot of times when you go to Target, you see Super 7 stuff with the collectibles and things like that. And they make a lot of figures. But I don't know, it's the first time they're going to be there, so I don't know what all they'll have. We'll find out, though. So a lot of companies like that, yeah.
Do you have any of the people that were voice actors in the GI Joe
Yeah, you
stuff?
do. Yeah, you do. You get some of the voice actors. You got last year we met Larry Hammond, and he is one of the creators of the original comic book
Right.
in the early days, one of the original writers, and that was kind of cool because he's just kind of like a god when it comes to the JoJo's. And then we met another guy the year before, who was one of the original designers of the figures, and got his autograph. And I cannot remember his last name, but his first name was Ron.
Ron.
And so, yeah, there's people like that there. Sergeant Slaughter was there.
Yeah, he's a pretty famous one.
Yeah, and he was there, and they were A&E, I believe, was filming a documentary about him, and then therefore Chuck Norris was there. But we never
Sweet.
did see Chuck Norris, which was
No.
disappointing. But yeah, you do get some wrestlers and stuff in there, and they get the common con stuff
Right.
that people come and see. People dress up, cosplay.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
Now, what about you guys at Free Range Collectibles? Are you in any GI Joe gear?
No. We've always joked about it, but never done it.
I would wear a helmet or something. Or
Oh,
you could
man,
get a big. You could.
It's
get
a long
big,
day, man. You
Big
don't wanna sit-
plastic gun and scare a whole bunch of people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Get a toy machine gun or whatever those action figures would carry along.
hmm
Fun.
Oh, there's people that do it. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Oh, I bet so. That go full out for it. So besides Joe Fest, you guys are also doing some local shows here in the beautiful city of Sanford, North Carolina. What do people in Sanford buy? What usually goes off of your shelves?
That's a good question. That's mostly for the local stuff. We don't sell a lot of the vintage stuff there.
Right.
It's that's when we get to sell more of our newer stuff, the newer Joes, the newer Star Wars figures and things like that. Because they come in, a lot of little kids come in,
Right.
and you don't want them handling the
older
expensive merchandise.
yeah.
And so the little kids always want something, so we always try to have like some cheaper, newer stuff for
Right.
them.
It's not as expensive.
Yeah.
And a lot of those parents probably like, oh, look at this G.I. Joe, and they see that it's old and it's got the 80s markings on the box, and they're like, what? $30 or $40.
Yeah, they're. I've heard them say, "No, son, these are collectibles. These are not
Yeah.
to be played with." Yeah, you hear that sometimes.
Now, that's a good question for your vintage Joes that you sell that are original from the 80s and stuff. Do you want people to play with those, or do you want them as display items?
That's a good question too. Some people will buy some and give to their kids, like the cheaper ones that are
Right.
not worth as much, and let their kids play with them. And some people leave them in the box and don't ever even touch them if they're in a package.
Right, right.
And then some people will open them up and display. I'm kind of more of a display guy myself.
Right.
I don't want to leave it in the package if there's something in a package, because what's the point if you spend that money and you never get to enjoy it? Just look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
it. But yeah, a lot of people do displays. Yeah.
That's what I remember you telling me about. If you're not going to resell it, then why is it still in
Yeah.
the box?
Yeah, that's my philosophy. But the other guy in our group, Mike, he don't want to open them.
Right.
Yeah. So we differ in that.
Well, the first
Yeah.
couple of things that I collected, I left in the box. Like I wasn't going to take them out. And then after chatting with a few more people, I was like, you're right. If I'm not going to resell it somewhere, then I should have it out to enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. And if it's a newer item, something that's out today, you may as well open it. And
Right.
and my reasoning behind that is that there's so much of it out there.
It's never going to.
It's never going to be worth like the old stuff is.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to buy your $10 toy and sell it for $100 later.
Yeah, because there's like 1,000 million other ones out there.
At least not in your lifetime, anyway.
Yeah.
You'd have to. Your grandkids would have to resell it.
Yeah. And that's
or their grandkids.
I mean, it's kind of like that with the baseball cards and stuff too that we
Yes.
grew up with. I mean, they're not worth anything now.
I
There's
know.
So
I have
many
a
of them.
box of cards I thought I'd be buying a car with or a down payment on a house. And now when I look at the value, I'm like, no, I'm not going to be doing that.
No,
I could buy a couple tanks of gas on them probably.
if that.
I thought for sure I was going to be buying a car with them, but no. Oh, well. But if anybody needs some baseball and basketball cards, I have a lot I would like to offload. Let me know.
Yeah, sorry, Matt. We won't touch those.
No, it's not a free range collectible. Not good enough for that. Now, when you go to Joe Fest this upcoming weekend, are you taking any of your bigger ticketed items with you?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I've bought one machine or one G.I. Joe toy. It's called the Defiant, and it's basically like this huge launch pad for a rocket.
Yeah.
That looks like a space shuttle, and I bought it in hopes that I would be able to sell it at Joe Fest.
Right.
Because it's a big ticket item. I mean, I'm hoping. I'll say we're probably going to ask probably about $1,200 for it.
Wow.
And so it is a harder to get
Yes.
piece that's also very fragile, and it breaks very easy. So it's there's not many of them out there. And so we'll take the big ticket stuff, because if we're going to sell them,
that's where it's
somewhere
gonna be.
like that's where they're going to sell, not around here.
Right.
Yeah. And plus, it's if we sold it online, we'd have to ship it, and oh man, it would cost a fortune to ship it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's so fragile.
Yeah.
And the size.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that too.
So we'll take big. Yeah, we'll take. We've got several big ticket items that we're going to take, and that's one of them. Yeah.
Right. Sweet. What do you think mostly sells at Joe Fest at one of these specialty stores?
Yeah, a lot of people do come looking for that type of stuff. Like they
Yeah.
know that this is where they're going to find it, and then they don't have to pay to have it shipped and stuff,
Right.
because it's right there. So yeah, you see a lot of that, and then just any vehicles and any figures that they'll have. Some of the booths, well, they have a lot of figures, and they'll have very rare figures that are hard to find. So
Now, I know you guys do well at Joe Fest, and you sell a lot of inventory. how much of that money that you guys make, how much do you pour right back into Joe Fest buying stuff that's there?
Oh God, well, it depends on who you're talking to with this one. This will be my third year going to Joe Fest. Last year was the first year we set up and sold. I did really well last year. I didn't spend a whole lot because I was actually stuck at the booth the whole time,
Right.
selling.
Yeah.
So I never did get to get out and really walk around. I mean, I did at some point walk around and look a little bit, but one of the other guys, I think he spent more than he made. And then we got Mike, and sometimes he's pretty good. He don't spend a whole lot, so.
Yeah, that's what would be my hard problem if I was like at a Lego show selling stuff and then walked around and be like, oh man.
Yeah, it depends on the show too. I mean, yeah, sometimes I've been to them where, like the one in Raleigh, where I've probably spent as much as I made, but
Right.
but not. I'm pretty good about trying to save my money.
Right. But the whole point is to bring joy to your life and to have a good time. So if you accomplish that, then who cares about the money that's spent?
That's right. If it brings you happiness, that's
right. Or my wife doesn't quite believe that attitude, but I'm sticking with it.
Yeah.
All right, Keith. So how long has Free Range Collectibles been in operation?
The business is, I think, well, I mean, I guess a little over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Joe Fest was we'd already come up with the idea of the company. But I guess our first official big outing would have been Joe Fest last year. Yeah, because I remember we had ordered a banner and it didn't come in time. So this year, it didn't get there till like the last day we were there. So yeah, I say a year.
Yeah, but you've been doing Joe stuff for
of course,
super long time.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I kept all my Joes. My grandmother kept everything from when I was a child, and which I'm glad she did. And then COVID and came, and I had a lot of time at home to get reacquainted with them.
Right.
And so yeah, so I mean, but that kind of refueled that fire.
The surgeon in you to start fixing everything up.
Yeah, because that was my main first goal, was just to fix everything up that I already had.
Right.
Not to buy new, but to fix up. And I've bought new. I've definitely gotten some other stuff, but majority of what I have is my original stuff. So.
And that's quite a large amount too.
Well, it was a lot of figures. I had a lot of figures, growing up. So.
Yeah. Keith here has a couple of display cases. It's just, they're epic with the line of Joe figures that are put in there and on display. Yeah, you've got a fine collection, sir. I was blown away the first time I saw it. I was like, I was just not expecting the oceans of figures you've got up and able to see.
And it's really crazy. I mean, I still have them from that long ago because, I mean, like I said, my grandmother kept everything, and I was kind of one of those kids where I never tore stuff up. So,
right.
I kept everything together, and for the most part.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what I did with my toys. I'm sure I had some Joes. I remember loving He-Man. I had several He-Man figures.
Yeah. And I didn't, it was funny because I didn't really care or love He-Man that much. And I had a He-Man, and one time I remember I burned him. I was on one of those, like, play with fire phases, and I wish I hadn't done it now. But
right. No, yeah, they've gone up in price, too. Yeah. You can do that. Would be the battle-tested He-Man.
Yeah.
Right?
No, there won't much left of him.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. What was it about taking your Joes and stuff apart and breaking them and I don't know why boys do that.
I don't know.
But
I never did that to my Joes. It was just the He-Man that I never played with. I was like, oh, I can sacrifice him.
Just the extraterrestrials. I love it. Well, sir, it's been great talking to you about Joe's.
It's been fun.
If you guys are interested in any collectibles other than Joe's, Free Range Collectibles has a wide assortment of things. They'll be at the Library PopCon that's coming up in August, and then they'll be at Sanford Street Fest. That'll be in September. And then if you're in Augusta, Georgia, this upcoming weekend, you can visit them at Joe Fest as well. Free Range Collectibles has a Facebook page, and so if you're looking for a specific, any kind of collectible, any kind of toy, send them a message. They may have it in stock, and they're real willing to work with you.
And if we don't have it, we have other sources to get it.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll plug in my buddy John up at Hero Source here in town, the new place that's right behind the stadiums at Lee Senior. Yep. He's a good guy, and he's got a lot of cool stuff too.
Sweet. So yeah, check out him at Hero Source, and just message Free Range Collectibles if there's something that you want back from your childhood that you wish still had. For me, it would be Optimus Prime, Hello Kitty. No, I've already got all my Hello Kitties. Don't worry, I saved all those too. No. But for me, my holy grail for me would be Optimus Prime Transformer, the original. I don't know what I would pay for it, but that's definitely something I'll be on the lookout for. So
yeah, cool. I actually have one.
Yes, I know. Message Keith for Range Collectibles, and they can get you what you want. Thanks for talking, Keith.
Yeah, no problem. Enjoyed it.
So remember, folks, there's a lot of life out there to love, so get to it. Be kind, be nice, and everyone have a great week. Thanks for listening to You're Still Doing That. If you love the show, check us out on our website, www.you'restilldoingthat.com, and leave a tip. You can also find the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.